Benjamin, a young millionaire, abandoned his mother in poverty. After 10 years, she visits him in prison. Georgia works at the local supermarket, where she endures long hours of physically and emotionally exhausting work. While organizing shelves and serving customers, her mind often wanders to the past, remembering the times when her son, Benjamin, was the center of her life. Benjamin was always a bright boy, with an insatiable interest in education. He spent hours reading books, asking questions, and exploring the world around him. Georgia and her husband, David, were always proud of him, believing his future would be bright. David, Georgia's husband, is a man of unwavering strength and patience. He is Georgia's emotional support, the pillar that supports her in her most difficult times. Georgia works tirelessly to provide a better future for her son, Benjamin. From an early age, she notices the sparkle in his eyes, the insatiable curiosity and thirst for knowledge that make him stand out from other children. Determined to give Benjamin the opportunities she herself never had, Georgia is dedicated to ensuring he has the best education possible. Working in a supermarket, Georgia earns enough to keep the house and support her family, but she knows that this will not be enough to pay for a quality private school for Benjamin. David, her husband, is her emotional support, always by her side, sharing the same dream of seeing Benjamin realize his potential. Together, they decide that Georgia must seek a better-paying job, even if it means additional sacrifices. Georgia finds a job as an administrative assistant at a medium-sized company. The work is demanding and the hours are long, but the pay is significantly better. Every day at the office is a challenge, but she stays focused on her goal, ensuring Benjamin has access to a quality education. The nights are filled with accumulated tiredness and lack of time for herself, but Georgia doesn't complain. She knows that every effort is a step towards the future she wants for her son. Meanwhile, Benjamin continues to excel at public school. He is a brilliant student, always dedicating himself to his studies and showing a special interest in science and mathematics. Georgia and David watch with pride as he racks up awards and recognition. They know that a private school could offer even more opportunities for Benjamin to grow and develop his talent. Finally, after months of saving and planning, Georgia and David manage to enroll Benjamin in a renowned private school. The excitement of seeing your child enter a new school is indescribable. Georgia feels like all her hard work was worth it when she sees the smile on Benjamin's face as he explores his new surroundings, meeting dedicated teachers and advanced educational resources. But changing jobs and new responsibilities are not easy for Georgia. The new job demands a lot from her, and she often feels exhausted and overwhelmed. However, every time she sees Benjamin studying diligently at his new school, she is reminded why she is doing all this. David is always by her side, offering emotional support and helping to care for Benjamin when Georgia is busy with work. Evenings at home are moments of connection for the family. Georgia and David make a point of having dinner together, taking advantage of these moments to talk about each other's day. They listen attentively as Benjamin talks about his classes, his new friends and the school projects he is working on. With each of Benjamin's achievements, Georgia feels a mixture of pride and relief, knowing that all the sacrifices are paying off. However, the pressure begins to take its toll on Georgia's health. She struggles to balance her demanding work, home responsibilities, and continued support for Benjamin. David, noticing his wife's exhaustion, tries to help her find ways to lighten the load. They discuss the possibility of her reducing her hours or seeking a less demanding position, but Georgia is hesitant. She fears that any change could jeopardize Benjamin's education. David has been battling a silent battle with health complications for months. Georgia, his devoted wife, feels the growing weight of worry with every hospital visit and every conversation with doctors. She is her unwavering support, holding her hand during difficult times and offering words of comfort when she needs it. Benjamin, the son that David and Georgia are so proud of, is in the final stretch of his graduation. He excelled at university, not only academically, but also as a student leader and role model for his peers. Education has always been a priority for him, a valuable legacy of the values his parents taught him since he was a child. Georgia, with her mind divided between work, taking care of the house and constantly supporting David, feels exhausted. However, every time she looks at Benjamin, she sees hope for the bright future they always dreamed of for him. David's health worsens every day and he cannot resist, leaving a huge void in Georgia and Benjamin's lives. It's a loss they feel deeply, a turning point that redefines their lives forever. Benjamin has always had a clear dream since he was young: to excel in education and build something meaningful for the future. Georgia, his mother, has always been his biggest supporter, encouraging his studies since his early school years. She is determined to support Benjamin on his next journey, starting his own real estate business. Benjamin's idea is ambitious, fueled by his passion for real estate investing and a vision of creating a legacy for himself. He has studied every detail, made meticulous plans, and is ready to take the next step. However, the initial capital required to start the business is a significant barrier. That's where Georgia comes in, offering to lend her the amount she's worked hard to save over the years. For Georgia, lending this money is not just a financial act. It is an act of faith in Benjamin's potential and the future he is building. Every penny represents not just savings, but sacrifices, long hours of work, and the hope of seeing her child prosper beyond the financial limitations she herself faced. It is a gesture of unconditional love and unwavering support despite the challenges and uncertainties they face as a family. As Benjamin prepares the documents and makes the final adjustments to launch his business, Georgia feels a mixture of pride and anxiety. She knows she is risking a lot, but her trust in Benjamin and her belief in his potential are stronger. As Benjamin dives into the world of real estate entrepreneurship, facing challenges and learning valuable lessons along the way, Georgia is there to support him every step of the way. She becomes his advisor, listening to his concerns, sharing his joys, and offering guidance whenever necessary. She is filled with joy to see how her emotional and financial investment is bearing fruit, not only in terms of profit, but also in terms of self-confidence and personal fulfillment for Benjamin. The first few months are challenging, requiring long hours of work and quick decision-making. However, his determination and strategic vision are beginning to bear fruit. Benjamin manages to close his first big deal, ensuring not only a substantial profit, but also validating his ability to make an impact on the market. The initial success brings an intense mix of emotions for Benjamin. He feels energized by the achievement, but also aware of the responsibility he now carries. Each new contract signed is not only a business milestone, but a reminder of his mother's tireless support and the family legacy he is building. Georgia, in turn, feels a mix of pride and relief when she sees her investment and years of sacrifice paying off. She celebrates Benjamin's victories as if they were her own, knowing that each step taken further strengthens the special bond between mother and son. As the business prospers, Benjamin finds himself immersed in a world of opportunities and challenges. He learns to navigate the complexities of the real estate market, negotiating with demanding clients and collaborating with a team that trusts his leadership. The constant growth of Benjamin's business does not go unnoticed. He begins to attract local and industry media attention, being recognized for his innovations and ability to identify profitable investment opportunities. Fame brings with it new pressures and expectations. Meanwhile, Georgia worries about the increasing demands on Benjamin and the emotional impact it may have on him. Benjamin transformed himself into a respected business leader. As Benjamin's business continues to prosper, he becomes increasingly financially prosperous. He acquires valuable properties, expands his team, and diversifies his investments. But as his real estate business prospers, he begins to become consumed by an increasingly self-centered and materialistic mindset. He throws himself into lavish parties, buys sports cars, and is constantly focused on accumulating more wealth and status. For him, these achievements are signs of success and validation of his tireless efforts. However, his change in attitude does not go unnoticed by his mother, Georgia. Georgia, who has always valued the principles of humility and gratitude, views Benjamin's transformation with concern. She observes how he distances himself from the family values that were fundamental to his upbringing. Increasingly concerned about the direction her son is taking, Georgia decides to confront him about this change in attitude. The confrontation takes place in a calm moment, when Georgia meets Benjamin in her office after work. She chooses her words carefully but firmly, expressing her concerns about the way he is prioritizing money and material possessions over other important aspects of life. Georgia recalls the values she and David always tried to instill in him: integrity, compassion, and generosity. Benjamin initially reacts with surprise and defensiveness. He finds himself justifying his choices, explaining that the competitive business environment forced him to adopt a more assertive and results-focused stance. He argues that he needs to stand out in the market, and that his material success is a reflection of his competence and value in the business world. Benjamin has become a respected name in the real estate market, and his partnership with Ryan has proven not only fruitful, but also a strong bond of camaraderie and mutual trust. Together, they envision new opportunities beyond national borders. As Benjamin and Ryan celebrate their successes aboard a private plane, the euphoria of the moment contrasts with Benjamin's humble beginnings. The plane, a symbol of status and success, represents a departure from the simple past and the struggles that shaped his journey there. However, this separation is not just physical. Emotionally, Benjamin begins to distance himself from his family roots and the values that Georgia tried to instill in him. For Georgia, Benjamin's gradual distancing is a source of worry and sadness. She sees her son becoming increasingly involved in a world of luxury and power, far from the everyday experiences that once brought them together. Communications become less frequent and superficial. Georgia notes that success is changing not only her lifestyle, but also her essence. As Benjamin and Ryan explore new international markets, expanding their business brings with it emotional and logistical challenges. They deal with different cultures, complex regulations, and fierce competition, testing their adaptability and resilience. Georgia watches Benjamin's exponential growth with a mixture of admiration and apprehension. She is proud of her son's achievements, but worries about the personal price he may be paying for his success. Benjamin has always been seen as an example of success and integrity in his community. His path to this point was marked by impressive achievements in the world of real estate business, where his ability to close big deals was admired. However, all this changes drastically when accusations of involvement in a financial scandal emerge that undermine his previously untouchable reputation. The scandal comes to light suddenly and relentlessly. Accusations of market manipulation and embezzlement begin to circulate in financial circles and the media. For Benjamin, every headline is a deep emotional blow. He finds himself faced not only with the prospect of significant financial damages, but also with the possibility of losing the respect and trust he has spent years building. While Benjamin faces the public storm, Georgia, his loving and concerned mother, desperately tries to reach him. She repeatedly calls his cell phone, sends messages, and even leaves messages, but her attempts are in vain. Benjamin, overwhelmed by shame and mounting pressure, avoids all contact with her. He withdraws not just physically but emotionally, unable to face his mother and admit his faults. For Georgia, every missed call is a blow to the heart. She worries not only about what is happening to Benjamin, but also about the devastating impact the scandal is having on him. Benjamin struggles to understand how things got to this point, reviewing every decision and transaction in search of answers. Media pressure and public scrutiny only intensify their sense of isolation and despair. Meanwhile, Georgia clings to the hope that Benjamin will one day answer her calls. Years pass and Georgia's pain only increases. She lives precariously, depending on the charity of neighbors and friends, always wondering where she went wrong. Every piece of news about Benjamin's success is like a knife in her heart, reminding her of the son she once loved so much and now seemed like a stranger. Benjamin is now the center of complex legal proceedings, accused of involvement in a financial scandal that shook not only his reputation, but also his emotional and financial stability. The shadow of the heavy fines hangs over him like a dark cloud, threatening everything he has worked to build. For Georgia, each day brings new worries and uncertainties. She spends sleepless nights, wondering how her son, so talented and promising, ended up in this desperate situation. Georgia's health is affected not only by ongoing stress, but also by her feeling of helplessness over her son's situation. She visits doctors regularly, but no treatment seems to ease the pressure she feels in her chest whenever she thinks about Benjamin's uncertain future. Meanwhile, Benjamin is faced daily with lawyers, legal papers and decisions that could determine his fate. Each hearing is an emotional roller coaster, where he oscillates between hope and despair, trying to maintain his composure in front of the cameras that follow him incessantly. The pressure to pay heavy fines is overwhelming. Benjamin faces the risk of losing not only his financial stability, but also the trust of his colleagues and customers. Georgia is paralyzed by the devastating news she has just received. Her son, Benjamin, has been arrested for financial fraud. The initial shock quickly turns into a torrent of turbulent emotions that consume her completely. Her mother's heart breaks into 1,000 pieces, unable to reconcile the image of her beloved son with the crime that is now associated with him. She finds herself flooded with an overwhelming mix of disbelief, deep sadness, and a searing pain that seems to tear through her chest with every breath. Georgia, who has always been the family's pillar of strength, feels powerless in the face of this tragedy that befalls her son. Tears run freely down her face as she tries to process the cruel reality she now faces. The news quickly spreads through the small community where they live, further amplifying the emotional impact on Georgia. She finds herself facing curious and judgmental looks, feeling as if she is being dragged into a nightmare from which she cannot wake up. 10 years after abandonment, Georgia decides to visit Benjamin in prison. The path there is painful. Each step brings back memories of the past. She doesn't know what to expect when she finds the son who despised her, but she feels that she needs to face the situation to find some peace. Georgia can hardly believe she is walking through the halls of a prison, her heart sinking from the mix of emotions that consume her. 10 years have passed since her son, Benjamin, abandoned her. 10 years of loneliness, pain and unanswered questions. She vividly remembers the day he passed away, leaving her destitute, and cannot understand how he could make such a cruel decision. As she walks through the prison gates, Georgia's heart beats fast. She is guided through the cold, shadowy corridors to the drawing room. Sitting on the other side of the glass, she sees Benjamin. He looks like a shadow of the man who became a millionaire. The sparkle in his eyes has disappeared, replaced by a look of despair and regret. Benjamin looks up and sees his mother for the first time in 10 years. Shame consumes him, but he knows he must face what he did. Georgia's hands shake as she holds the phone to talk to him. The silence between them is heavy, filled with unexpressed emotions. Benjamin. Is the first question that leaves Georgia's lips, her voice filled with sadness. She does not seek revenge, but understanding. She wants to know what led her son to abandon her in such a cruel way. Benjamin swallows hard, looking for words that can justify the unjustifiable. He starts to speak, but the words fail him. How to explain the greed, the blindness to power that took him away from the only person who really cared about him? The pain in Georgia's eyes is unbearable for Benjamin, and he bursts into tears. For the first time in many years, he allows himself to feel the pain of remorse, the loss of maternal love. Benjamin's success seemed like a blessing as he began to prosper in the business world. From a humble and dreamy young man, he transformed into a powerful millionaire, surrounded by unimaginable luxuries. But with wealth came a change of character that Georgia never expected. The thirst for power corrupted him, and Benjamin turned away from everything important, including his mother. For Georgia, the following years were a nightmare. She struggled to survive, depending on the charity of neighbors and friends. Every news of Benjamin's success was torture, a constant reminder of the son she had lost to greed. She constantly wondered where she had gone wrong, how she could have created someone capable of such cruelty. Benjamin? Why did you abandon me? The question comes out with a mixture of pain and love, seeking an understanding that may never come. Benjamin looks away, tears filling his eyes. He knows there aren't enough excuses for what he did. I was blind. Mom. Blinded by money, by power. I thought that was the most important thing, but I lost my way. I lost you. He whispers, his voice choked with regret. Benjamin's tears are a sign that, despite everything, he still feels. Benjamin finally expresses his sincere regret, acknowledging the devastating impact of his actions on not only his own life, but George's as well. He confesses his mistakes, admitting the arrogance and greed that led him down such a destructive path. His tears, once rare, now flow freely, testimony to a tormented soul finally opening up to the painful truth. Georgia hears every word with a broken heart, but also with deep compassion. She understands that the road to Benjamin's redemption will be long and difficult, but her presence there is a testament to her unwavering commitment as a mother. She doesn't need explanations. Her love transcends human failings and mistakes made. Over the next few weeks, Georgia and Benjamin begin to rebuild their relationship, one step at a time. She becomes his emotional anchor, offering him not only forgiveness, but also the guidance and support he needs to face the consequences of his actions. They have difficult and in-depth conversations, exploring the roots of Benjamin's behavior and seeking paths to his personal and moral recovery. Georgia finds herself challenged with a new role, supporting her son as he struggles to redeem himself. She faces criticism from the community and the ongoing pain of seeing her son behind bars, but her conviction in his ability to change and grow never wavers. She knows Benjamin's redemption process will take time and effort, but she is determined to be by his side every step of the way. She tells me here in the comments if she would have forgiven her son if something similar had happened to you. Stay now with another exciting story.